My name is Marissa, and I'm here to talk to you about gay marriage and ethics in business. This has been a hot topic in recent years. This is important knowledge to understand with the current population and ethical standards. Although this presentation is centered on gay marriage, there are several aspects that relate to non-married gay citizens and transgender citizens in the current workforce. These topics often work together and should all be considered in conjunction. Now, let's start with some statistics. Less than 4% of the people in the US identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. This comes from a study done by Gary J. Gates through the Williams Institute School of Law in 2011. Just about 3.5% of the population identifies as lesbian, gay, or bisexual, while 3% of that number identifies as transgender. There are many reasons that this data cannot be fully substantiated and is likely to be wrong. The author allows for a margin of error due to the stigma and fear associated with coming out as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or even transgender. It is extremely possible that this number is an underestimate. However, even if this number is 100% accurate, that 4% comes out of the 324 million people in the United States and equals about 12,960,000 people that identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. That 4% means that for a firm of 1,000 employees, approximately 40 of them are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. That can be a lot of people to ostracize and hurt if the ethics and values associated with gay marriage and the LGBT community are not handled properly. In addition to this, those companies that refuse to allow, accept, and understand gay marriage and the LGBT community also cut down the potential employees they have by almost 13 million in the US alone. And that being said, let's get some history on gay marriage. This is just a quick rundown of the history of gay marriage. Gay marriage has a very spotted history in the United States, and it's all over the place, and every single state has a different history. In 1970, the case Baker versus Nelson was heard by the Supreme Court. This was a case in which two gay men applied for a marriage license and were turned down. They appealed and made it all the way to the Supreme Court, where they were still denied. In 1992, the District of Columbia became the first area where unmarried couples, regardless of gender, could register as domestic partners. But in 1996, President Bill Clinton signed the Defense of Marriage Act. This act allowed states to refuse to recognize same-sex marriages performed by other states. Between 1996 and 2011, state law varied. The state laws go back and forth during this time and even after 2012. Some states created laws and legislation that allowed same-sex couples to get married, form civil unions, and have domestic partnerships. Some states enforced bans on same-sex marriage and made it clear that they refused to recognize marriages from other states. 2011 marked a large milestone for the gay community, as President Obama announced that he would no longer support DOMA, signed by President Clinton in 1996. This made it clear that states had to at least recognize same-sex marriages from other states. In addition to this, in 2012, President Obama became the first president of the United States to officially endorse same-sex marriage. And in 2015, the famous Supreme Court decision was handed down. A landmark case, Oberfel versus Hodges, was heard and decided in the Supreme Court. The decision in this case ultimately means that the marriage to a same-sex partner is recognized as a right in the Constitution under the 14th Amendment. This case was a compilation of multiple cases and years of work from many different groups of people. As of June 26, 2015, it became a constitutional right for any couple, gay or straight, to be married in any state they so choose, and that marriage must be recognized in any and every state. The decision in this case did not just affect the LGBT community, but the business community as well. Now, all businesses have a clear standard that they must recognize gay marriages in all states and from all states. This is important to note from an ethics standpoint as well. This decision changed the discourse in a business, but also opened the door for more unethical risk should a company neglect to change what they're doing or how they're viewing gay marriage. Now, let's backtrack a little bit and talk about family and marriage protections in the workplace. Every person who works every employee has certain rights in every workplace. These are generally well known. And with respect to their family or their marriage, employees have additional rights in the workplace. These, like I said, are well known and understood. However, it's important that employees understand and utilize these rights when considering same-sex marriage in the workplace. LGBT employees should be free from harassment, they should have equal pay, and they and their families should have the same benefits as all other employees. It is important that employees are trained on ethics and the importance of treating all LGBT employees fairly. The law definitely isn't perfect yet. Unfortunately, when it comes to same-sex marriage and LGBT employees, organizations will find themselves lacking severely if they operate as compliance only, i.e., as long as we follow the law, everything will be fine. There are still some states where an employer can legally fire an employee for being gay. Rather, where there are not laws expressly forbidding employers from firing employees based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. Only 19 states have passed legislation preventing discrimination of LGBT employees. In 2013, Pew Research reported that 21% of LGBT Americans said they had faced discrimination in the workplace because of their sexual orientation. And on top of all of these laws, there tends to be a very strong heteronormativity that takes place in the workplace. Working with all of your employees is not just about working with the law, but it's about making sure that everyone has a place to shine. It is important that everyone feels as though they can have a place they can thrive. Having environments that do not do this can create risk for you and upset employees, hurt feelings, and even make you lose productivity. In 2014, the British Journal of Management did a study on LGBT workers and the issues that they face in the workplace. LGBT workers often feel the strain of heteronormativity and the friction with their coworkers and employers. A culture of silence is perpetuated, which keeps these workers from achieving their goals of truly being in an inclusive work environment. This isolation can be disastrous on the productivity of the company, as well as the values-based ethics culture that many managers try to create. So why do it? Why support gay marriage and actively encourage positive discourse about gay marriage and the LGBT community in business? Here are some benefits. More employees to recruit to more locations. Employees are less concerned about relocation issues and discrimination issues. They can work freely in your company wherever they would like. There's a higher morale and higher productivity. Fewer employees feeling discriminated. According to economists, gay marriage provides an overall positive boost to the economy through the creation of happier employers and more money being spent. Supporting gay rights adds a competitive edge and increases the customer age, which explains why in 2015, after the Supreme Court decision handed down, so many employers changed their logos to include pride symbols and rainbows to show that they truly were inclusive and supported gay marriage. In 2016, over 55% of Americans supported same-sex marriage, while only 37% opposed it. That number has risen drastically since 2001, when 35% were for gay marriage and 55% of Americans opposed it. Having this large amount of population on your side is important as you continue forward. So, just like with any other hot ethical topic, it's important that you encourage and actively work with your employees and organization to stay ahead of the curve. Having an ethical environment is extremely important and should be encouraged on all fronts, including conversations about gay marriage and the LGBT community. Although the law may not require every possible protection step be taken at this point, it may be good to take proactive steps, such as managing risk through mandated and voluntary programs, working with your employees to show them that you support gay marriage and the LGBT community, and they should too. Open discourse with your employees, rather than simply being reactive to the law and the situations that arise. Thank you.